In today's episode, I want to talk about one of the faces of faith I call the thinkers. This is probably the group with which I most strongly identify personally, though I do have tendencies resembling some of the other styles of faith. These people bring a lot to the table, especially in a tradition like ours. At the same time, they do have some weaknesses and drawbacks that are worth noting. Hello. I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. We Presbyterians are sometimes called the frozen chosen. Like all caricatures, it is a characterization that has some grounding in reality, but which also somewhat distorts the picture. The chosen part refers to the Reformed tradition's particular emphasis on the doctrine of predestination. The frozen part? It comes from the distinctly Calvinist suspicion of displays of emotion in worship. But I think underneath it is the sense that Calvinists have traditionally been thinkers, for better and for worse. So, what is a thinker? Aren't we all, to some degree, thinkers? Rational beings? Well, of course we are. But the folks I'm talking about are those whose approach to the faith is primarily an intellectual exercise. They think deeply about theology, about doctrine. They raise questions and shun easy answers. They want to look under the hood, so to speak, and see what makes the faith run. At its extreme, they can be annoying with their almost pedantic nitpicking. One thing I should note about these different faces of faith is that people can exhibit tendencies in more than one. When thinkers also happen to be legalists, you can get a pretty formidable and persuasive, if perhaps overly doctrinaire and rigid, force in the church. This may account for why we Reformed Christians have an unfortunate tendency to split. When we place so much emphasis on right doctrine to hold us together, then the natural consequence is to divide when our views of particular doctrines and practices diverge. Other traditions can have equally divergent views and still remain united. But not all thinkers behave this way. Some just genuinely enjoy thinking deeply about the faith and are often very open to a whole variety of viewpoints. At their best, thinkers encourage people to raise questions about the faith with no judgment attached. Perhaps what drives them is the question, I wonder. They wonder why the church believes what it believes. They wonder how we got the Bible and why other traditions within the larger Christian church accept different books that we Presbyterians do not recognize as canonical. They wonder how we got the creeds, especially the Apostles' Creed and the Nicene Creed. Their curiosity drives them constantly to ask questions and to seek answers. With them, disagreement is not always, or even usually, a cause for division. They just enjoy the quest for understanding. They reflect the ancient dictum first expressed by St. Augustine of Hippo and later by Anselm of Canterbury, which said, "Faith seeking understanding," which is kind of an orientation more than a theological method per se. Thinkers know that there is more to the faith than any one believer can possibly grasp, and which leads them on a kind of faithful quest for ever more understanding. But there are some downsides here. It is no mistake that thinkers are statistically more likely to abandon the faith. This is particularly true of those thinkers for whom empirical evidence is the ultimate source of knowledge and understanding. They often want empirically verifiable evidence to support beliefs. And of course, major parts of Christian faith are simply not open to this. Fundamentalists would deny this on the grounds that they believe that whatever is in the Bible counts as empirical evidence, but most thinkers do not consider statements in the Bible as empirical proof of anything but the fact that they are in the Bible. Such things as miracles, healings, the virgin birth, and such can become stumbling blocks to these folks. There is a pretty large body of research that suggests that for some thinkers, these issues are enough to reject Christian faith. A second issue with thinkers is the tendency to make Christian faith more a matter of the mind and less a matter of the heart. I would suggest that a balanced faith needs both, head and heart. But in spite of our reputation as the frozen chosen, John Calvin's personal motto was, "My heart I offer to you, O Lord, promptly and sincerely," which was accompanied by the image of a flaming heart held in the palm of a hand. At our best, we Reformed Christians know that faith is a matter of both the head and of the heart. But for many among the thinkers, faith becomes much more head than heart. Still, in spite of these weaknesses, the thinkers among us remind us never to be so sure and certain of our particular beliefs, so set in our ways, that we cannot ask big questions and be open to new ways of thinking. And when you think about it, that is part of makes us who we are as Presbyterians, whose motto is Ecclesia Reformata, Semper Reformanda, Church Reformed, always reforming. For us, a thinking faith is baked into our very identity. When we return tomorrow, the activists. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do, this day and in all the days ahead.